I think CM Punk went to AEW because he wanted to come back to WWE.
This is the Casual Wrestling Show. Casual Wrestling Show.
All right, so this has to do with AEW and that IWC that we love to talk about, right? Something happened last night on AEW that I don't personally watch. I'll come out straightforward and say that I am a WWE fan. I do not watch AEW. Do I pay attention? Yes. But the only way I pay attention is through Twitter, the dirt sheets, and the reporters that report on it, right? So I see last night that Darby Allin cuts a promo. And in the promo, he references Cody Rhodes as a former EVP.
Uh-huh.
And the crowd starts to chant Cody Rhodes' name. Now, let me back this up here. I want to start by saying that a lot of people in the IWC believe that AEW is WWE's competition. And I totally disagree with that, because competition means you are on almost level playing fields, and this is not the case. WWE is head and shoulders above all wrestling companies and will remain that way until the end of time. I think they're a good alternative, and that's how I view them, as an alternative, right? It's something for people to tune into, as something to kind of get away from WWE if you want, or other promotions if you're into other promotions. But in terms of competition, they're not even close. And the numbers state that blatantly. I mean, viewership, merchandise, revenue, I mean, arenas, filling them up, sold out shows. I mean, it's just, it's not competition. So I want to get that out of the way first, right? Secondly, the fact that AEW has to continuously bash WWE during their shows, that alone tells me that it's not competition. You're trying to get publicity and get eyes on you because, listen, there's not many on you. And for me, if I was in the back of AEW last night and Darby Allin cut that promo, I'd kind of question him, like, why would you do something like that? And then you have to look at Tony Khan, right, and be like, why are you giving these guys such free range with their promos? Because, listen, Cody Rhodes is the hottest name in wrestling right now, the hottest going into WrestleMania season. And you find it appropriate to kind of reference him on a live show that's supposedly competition? I don't get that. I don't get that at all. And you go to the people that have jumped shift, right? Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, CM Punk. I've seen interviews where Jade Cargill said the goal was always to get to WWE. I think CM Punk went to AEW because he wanted to come back to WWE. Cody Rhodes, who knows? But I think deep down, he's wanted to also come back and win that title that his father never did. So you're seeing a trend here, right? You're seeing a trend. And in terms of people that are jumping ship to come back to WWE, I think that's understandable. But I think there's only maybe about 50-ish% of that roster that WWE would actually possibly consider. I think it might be even lower.
I think it's lower than that. I think it's lower.
I'm being generous.
Yeah,
I'm being
you're being very generous.
So, and then you look at the whole perception of AEW. Oh, well, they're a pro wrestling company. They don't worry about all this and that. And it's like, that's cool. If that's your niche, cool. I get it. But as somebody that is a loyal WWE fan, I feel like I'm taking a step down, right? Like in soccer, how they relegate teams, if you're not having a good season, that's a relegation team right there. I don't have interest in that. And you see the injuries that happen on live television. I mean, Jeff Hardy got knocked out last night from Sammy Guevara doing a flip. I mean, the blood, like, what's so appealing about people bleeding all the goddamn time?
They're not allowed to cuss anymore, though. Did you see that?
Yeah.
They're bleeping. They're bleeping the cussing now.
Yeah. So again, I think the biggest thing the point I wanted to get out was WWE and AEW are not in a competition. AEW will forever be an alternative, and I think people need to start understanding that and agreeing with it, because they'll never ever cross lines with WWE.
Having played basketball, you made the reference of relegation. To me, it is the equivalent of the NBA and street ball. AEW feels more like street ball to me. It feels like it's almost too much of a compliment to call it relegation, in that still feels like it's WWE Light. It really, what you said about the promos is 100% true. Somebody, I understand not wanting to script word for word the promo, but somebody's got to take a look at what you're saying and go, you can't say that. like you cannot, going into WrestleMania season, if we feel like we're competition, you can't say that. You don't get to say Cody's name. Even if it generates a pop, even if it was for a positive reason, you just can't do that. And like the injury to Jeff Hardy, that feels like shit that happens on a street ball court.
Yeah.
And just continuing the match and not like, you see what happened to Shotzi. Shotzi gets injured. They shut the match down. They make a big deal. WWE's really getting big on this. Like, fuck the story. Fuck kayfabe. This is real life. We're going to take care of this person. With AEW, it does. It is insane. I think there was a small point in time, Mike, where it felt like competition. It felt like Vince McMahon was driving WWE in the wrong direction. And it felt like Tony Khan had accumulated enough of these wild pieces that just in principle, it felt like competition. It was never from a business standpoint, but they had CM Punk. They were generating interest. And I think that at this point, I think Tony Khan's the only person in the IWC who truly believe their competition. I don't think WWE even acknowledges them in internal meetings anymore. I think at one time there might have been discussions in WWE about like, hey, we got to pay attention to what they're doing. It's not going to affect us, but we just got to watch. They're going to try and poach people and do some things. And now I'm like you. I feel like WWE looks over at that roster and goes, there's 4 or 5 we'll take. Yeah, I think Tony Khan and the IWC at this point are the only ones who feel like they're competition. WWE there might have been a time. I just don't, at this point, I think that's all in the rearview mirror. There's people in TKO probably don't even know what AEW is inside of that company. Yeah. At this point, they see WWE and they see that as professional wrestling. Yeah, like you said, 50% I think is generous. I think there's 4 or 5 guys we could probably name off. That might be a fun topic one day is who would you take?
Sure.
I don't think you ever want Moxley back. I think he's a little bit of a problem. I don't know that I'd want Darby Allin. He's too little. I don't want Jericho back. MJF. you take. Probably Wardlow you take just based on size and potential.
Wardlow.
Shit. That's Britt Baker. I would take Britt Baker. I think she fits. I think she fits into the women's roster. I'd
have to look at the roster, man.
Yeah, we've seen Tony Storm. Like I guess that character could work back in WWE, but like
Hobbs, is that his name?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs.
There's a few that you can throw at the wall and see if they.
But they've got like 170 fucking people on the roster, so to get to 50%, we got to go. What's that? 60, 70 of them.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That'll be a fun topic. We'll do that in the near future. We'll pull up the roster and do it. You got anything else?
For sure. I'm good, man. I'm looking forward to SmackDown tomorrow.
Hell yeah, I am too. I'm ready.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Hey, you better bring it if we debating going toe to toe. No holding back. I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the Dope Show. Nerdy D and Milwaukee Mike.